Roger!
Okay, well, that's going at the beginning of this podcast now.
I couldn't help myself.
Hey everyone, and welcome once again to the official Get Me Off the Moon podcast. As always, I am Skybane Zero, and joining me today is...
I'm Tim. I'm the co-host for the podcast.
Hi, I'm Nathan. I'm one of the admins on Get Me Off the Moon.
Hi, I'm Paul, known across the internet as Hypershell, rabid fan, avid supporter.
Nice. Alright, and today we are here to talk about a very exciting thing that's just happened in the world of Mega Man. Mega Man Legends has finally hit the North American PSN store.
At last!
Yeah, I know, right? It's been so long in coming, but finally it's actually here. Now, for those of our viewers who don't know, fans have been pushing for about 9 years to get the Legends games onto the North American PSN store. The Japanese versions of the game were released on the Japanese PSN store some years back, but due to copyright issues with the Aronoman C vending machine drinks and the YAG building in Uptown, the games had never been able to come stateside. Thanks to Capcom deciding to pay the licensing fees associated with these copyright assets, though, we were finally able to get the first game on PSN for $9.99 on September 29th, which incidentally was the same day that Mega Man Legends 3 was announced. But yeah, now we officially have the opportunity to show renewed support for this amazing series with our wallets. So guys, how are you feeling about this announcement, and what do you think it'll mean for the Legends series?
Well, at first, when Trombone was announced, it was really exciting because people would finally be able to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't really think too much on it. And it was just it's a game that they know has appeal, especially because Trombone is the most marketable character in Legends.
Yeah.
But now that they've gone the extra mile and done the legal grunt work to get Legends 1 onto PSN, you get the feeling Legends 2 isn't far behind. And why would Capcom want to remind everyone that the Mega Man Legends series has a bunch of games they can play?
And
Obviously,
Paul...
it's to launch their series of Mega Man action figures and stickers.
Hey, whatever works.
That works, yeah.
Hey, Legend series figures and stickers, I'll go for that.
Uh-huh.
I'm actually bummed I can't find those Mega Man Legends rubber mascots. Keep looking for them on eBay. They used to have them.
So, Paul, what's
Anyway.
your overall opinion on this?
I am psyched.
I know, right?
Obviously, I was real excited when Misadventures came out, but at the same time, obviously it doesn't have the Mega Man Legends label. So if you're not already a fan, it's kind of not terribly likely that you just happen to stumble upon it, unless you know Tron from the crossovers, which she's in darn near all of them, so I mean, that's helpful.
Yeah.
But, you don't necessarily realize that is a Mega Man spin-off. So, I mean, now that we actually have Legends on there, it's like, yes, finally, they've done nothing in the West with a series for so many years, and finally they're taking a shot.
Yep.
And as I believe Nathan said also, hopefully Legends 2 isn't far behind, and, got my copy right away, and just really hoping that Capcom will actually see that there is some money to be made there.
Yeah, I honestly think Mega Man Legends 2 is indeed inevitable at this point, just because there were never any real copyright issues associated with that game, so the only thing that really seemed to be preventing it from releasing on PSN sooner was that Mega Man Legends 1 wasn't out first. But now that that's actually happened, I think it's just a matter of time that Legends 2 comes out on PSN.
And one of the few pieces of Legends merchandise, if you can call it that, they have had Legends 2 themed PlayStation avatars up there forever and a half.
And that's thrown a lot of people off, thinking that Legends was coming to PSN, just seeing that page up there. On PSN.
For how many years? Now we're finally here, and you can find out what game that stuff came from.
I know, right? That's awesome.
Woo!
So show of hands, who's already gotten their copy?
Oh, yeah, me.
Right.
Definitely.
Okay.
It's funny because we're on Skype, can't see anyone's hands. But, I'm raising mine now, too. So.
Well, that's why I called mine out.
I think a sign that you got an early version is the description on the game on whatever you downloaded it on, because I noticed that the early versions had a typo in the word disappearance. It had 2 S's, and now that's been replaced.
Oh, Capcom, you and your typos.
I know, right?
Resident Evil Revelatons. Capcom.
I don't know, I play Extreme 2 all the time, so I'm kind of hardened against that.
Oh my god, there were some hilarious typos in the Extreme games. But getting back on topic, Tim, what do you think about this?
Well, as for what my view of the whole thing is essentially what everyone else has just said is the fact that with the Misadventures of Trombone out, and then a couple weeks later, here comes Mega Man Legends 1. It's with the possibility, it's a very strong possibility that Mega Man Legends 2 will come out, and just the thought alone of having those on the PSN network is just reassuring for the possibility of showing Capcom that maybe they will bring the idea of Legends 3 back into fruition if they see the positive light in the sales for Mega Man Legends 1 and Misadventures of Trombone.
Yep.
Of course, it's a strong possibility that Legends 2 will come out. So,
it's pretty high possibility, I think.
Yeah, I mean, they went through the hurdles to get the other two out, so they'll go for it too. Because apparently, the main Legends game I played was the first one, and that was for the N64. I've heard a lot of fans tell me, maybe it's a hit and miss for some people, but Legends 2 was sort of like Mega Man 2 in that it just vastly improved on everything the first one did.
Right.
So, yeah. It's also kind of showing, because, Capcom has sort of been in the gray area for a lot of, gamers and that, especially with the whole, a lot of people saying, what do they do with Mega Man? So seeing this, doing this with Legends of all things, the underdog of Mega Man, basically, it's definitely raised up my opinion up with a lot of, I'm sure plenty of people, as a good sign for Capcom doing things that fans want.
Konami doing the exact opposite these days probably helps too.
I don't want to talk about that. I like Silent Hill and I'm so sad about that now.
But if I remember correctly, they also recently hired a new producer for the Mega Man series, which is something they generally only do when they have games in the works. And it's been about 3 years-ish since the Mighty Number 9 Kickstarter ended with bajillions of monies. So we might be seeing something sometime soon. Obviously, Capcom's not going to be announcing any Mega Man games until they are 100% positive it is not going to get canned at this point.
Yeah, they really can't afford to botch another one.
Yeah.
I think they are doing much better as of late in terms of their public relations, though. I mean, because even though, obviously, their new games have come out, they're getting a lot of merchandise, they're getting a lot more re-releases than there used to be. Because, we used to just see the same NES games over and over. And,
we have PlayStation games now.
Yeah, that, for the longest time, there were no PlayStation Mega Man games. It wasn't just like Legends. You couldn't get X4 or X5 or Mega Man 8, and now all that's out, too.
That's right.
They're digging a bit deeper, so hopefully that's only the beginning of a new trend.
Hey,
so what does Mega Man Soccer get on PSN?
Don't forget the Mega Man Amiibo.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's kind of a byproduct of Smash
thing.
Brothers, obviously. But, got that right away. And, it creates an incentive for Nintendo to throw Mega Man into their games. Mario Kart, Mario Maker, which I think is great because I always say there's kind of a synergy in the, the Nintendo audience and the Mega Man fan base. I think they tend to go together pretty well for the most part. There's 7 Mega Man series, and 6 of them were most well received on Nintendo platforms of some kind. Legends is the only one that wasn't, and that's because the only Nintendo Legends game is Mega Man 64.
Yeah. Which, by the way, do you guys think that
Come on,
that
Nintendo, bring it to the eShop.
Yeah, I know. I was just gonna say, do you guys think that that is going to be heading to the Wii U eShop at some point?
I sure as heck hope so. I've been rooting for that ever since Smash Brothers, really, because I just, with the Mega Legends Final Smash and the trophies and all that, obviously Mega Man 64 is the only game they can really list on Volnet's trophy.
Right, and you wouldn't think it would be that difficult either, because Mega Man 64 doesn't have the YEG building. I think the Ornament C bottles were changed. There really shouldn't be anything preventing that game from being re-released on the Wii U.
And also, obviously, there's no telling what the difference is in licensing and what have you, and getting it through the Virtual Console versus the PSN. But, the $10 point, on PSN, that's unusual.
I think I mentioned this earlier on in the podcast, but the $10 price tag just has those old
the
licensing fees.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, which, I mean, it's to be expected, to people who are following it, but then your average fan jumps on and they don't really understand why.
Yeah, right.
But, I mean, Legends obviously is very, very well received, and it's not as if you can grab a used disc very easily either.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, if anything, that's about half the price you'd get on eBay or Amazon.
Oh, probably less than that, I would think.
Probably even less than that, you're right, because new copies are, I imagine, a lot more.
Well, Legends 2 cost me about $95 for good condition.
Oh, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Really, it seems kind of weird to just have the one game on eShop.
Mm-hmm.
When, like, gee, Sony, how come your mom gives you 3 Legends games?
Well, you never know. They could pull another Bayonetta in terms of licensing it. But the likelihood of it, I'm not too sure. Mega Man 64 maybe, but I don't know what the overall likelihood is. I don't think it would be as likely with Sony, but you never know, right?
Mm-hmm. And real quick, I just wanted to give a huge shout out to all the folks on our page who've been supporting this re-release. When Legends 1 hit PSN on September 29th, our page was absolutely flooded by people. We had one post where we asked folks to tell us their fondest Legends memories for a chance to win a couple $20 PSN cards. By the way, Tim, thank you for that.
No problem.
And we got over 500 comments in that post, which was just crazy.
Congratulations to the winners, by the way.
Oh yeah, I unfortunately do not have your names in front of me right now, but still, congrats to you anyway. And but there were also some people coming in and telling us that they were buying the game off the PSN website to show their support, even though they didn't own a PS3, Vita, or PSP. So that just goes to show you just how much support these games have been getting since they re-released on PSN. But it's all just been super inspiring, and I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank everyone for giving this game the attention that it very much deserves. It looks like your work paid off too, because despite being released only 2 days before the end of September, Legends still managed to make number 5 on Sony's list of best-selling PS titles for that month.
Yay! No, it's good to hear that, especially within the 2-day mark. How it just, because I'm sure there's a lot of titles there that are just downloaded by so many people, right? So it's just it's reassuring just to see how committed, like you were saying about the PSN, how people didn't even own the systems. It's just very reassuring in the fact that so many fans are just so committed to the series, which is, props to you.
Right, major props to you guys.
And let's give a shout out to Capcom USA and the folks at Capcom Unity.
Oh yeah, major
place.
applause to you guys too if you're watching.
We
love you.
Back to the post. I want to say that Gregaman called someone in particular out as being instrumental for getting the game brought over.
Person number A, thank you.
Jeez, but really, I don't imagine this was very easy to get out. I mean, obviously it took 9 years to finally get stateside, so again, huge shout out to the Capcom Unity guys. I'd imagine they went right out of the limb to make sure this game came out on PSN. So yeah, they are definitely to be commended here.
Yeah.
Now where's Legends 2?
Yeah.
Never satisfied.
Oh, yeah, just by scrolling down to try to find that post about the PSN release. Found that Tron was on sale for $4 back on August 25th. Who'd have thought?
Yep.
Yeah, I bought it when it was on sale.
I got when it came out, but then when it went on sale, I'm like posting the links in other groups going, okay, no excuses now, seriously. Because even the retail price is a steal. Tron Bond is ridiculously expensive if you try to look for a disc of that one.
Yep, that's right.
I think with the box and the manual, isn't it like $200 or something like that?
Jeez. That's crazy.
Well, it came out at a bad time when I had virtually no money, and I already bought some stuff beforehand. So when I did buy it, that's when the sale was. So I was just really stoked, and I just ended up buying it. It's on my Vita right now. So.
Nice. Which, by the way, yeah, shout out to Misadventures of Tron Bond on PSN. If you guys haven't picked that up, please do so. It's a great game.
Yeah, prequel game to the first Legends.
Yeah. And for that reason, it kind of was appropriate that it released before Legends 1 on PSN.
Yeah. They're going chronological.
I think he got
be on the way.
Once you play Legends and then you know that there is a game starring the Bonds, I don't see how you couldn't jump on it. Like, to sell the misadventures of Tron Bond to someone who is not familiar with the Legends series, okay, that's, well, there's like how many different game modes but I mean, once you play Legends, it's like, to me, the Bonds sell the game.
Right.
I mean, I rented Legends back in the day, and just after the first fight with Diesel, it's like, okay, I have to own this.
So, my question, when's the next event where a bunch of Japanese game companies get together and talk about what they got coming next?
Tokyo Game Show just passed.
Tokyo Game Show, right?
Yeah, just passed.
Did we have to wait until, like, next E3 or something?
They can always do Nintendo Direct, right?
Yeah, if they do something on the
If it's on
Nintendo,
Nintendo,
sure.
Yeah.
Hey, I still say there is no reason there should not be a Mega Man Volnut Mii Gunner costume. They got X, they got Zero, they got Proto Man. I really think that Volnut should be in line there somewhere.
Yeah,
so,
get it with Nintendo.
Make him the brawler so he can use the kick.
Oh, that would be great, yeah.
Well, besides, this is a bit off topic. Besides Smash, Mario Kart, and Mario Maker, do you think, Capcom has any further plans with the Mega Man amiibos?
Well, I think they're using the Mega Man amiibo for extra challenges on the 3DS Legacy Collection.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh.
They started a contest for that a couple weeks back for people to submit their challenge ideas for the Legacy Collection. And those challenges, once they're in the game, will be activated via the Mega Man amiibo.
Oh.
Does Monster Hunter have any amiibo support? Because I feel like
not yet.
You probably get like a costume or something.
Doesn't it have a Mario
Man costume in Monster Hunter, don't they? Or is
they do, although it's not activated through the amiibo.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, that's another thing coming out that'll probably have use is Yoshi's Woolly World.
Gives the Mega Man skin to Yoshi.
Hey, that'll be cool. That'll be like the best thing ever.
Like a Mega Man color scheme kind of thing. Where it's still Yoshi, it's just blue with like little red dots on his side.
Oh yeah, but that's like Mario Kart. It's not really Mega Man, but it's still Mega Man. No, I just think that the whole little Mega Man amiibo is cool, just for the fact that it works with multiple games. Just for this little awesome toy.
You gotta love how not available it is anywhere.
I have an extra one right here, and oddly enough, I keep trying to sell it. Nobody wants it, which makes me sad.
I think like a month or two after it came out, they started getting a decent supply. But yeah, when it first came out, it was like impossible.
Tim was awesome enough to give me one for free.
Yeah, well, that is because everything that I was trying to do, it just kept getting pushed back. I'm just like, you know what? From all the Mega Man news I've been hearing, I'm like, I might as well give some out for free.
Yeah, I haven't even unboxed it yet. It's just so glorious in its splendor.
The best thing about that gift was my message.
I'll resist any urges to yell at you for that, Skybane.
We're not unboxing it.
They're toys. I gotta take them out of the box. I don't care what
I know. See, that's how I am too. I mean, for most of my Mega Man Bandai figures, I unboxed them, but for the Mega Man amiibo, I just couldn't do it. It looks so good.
And there's not a whole lot you can use it for anyway, so.
That's true, and from what I hear, you can even use it while it's in the box.
Aha. Really?
Well, you gotta do some surgery on the box, but... Yeah.
Oh, do you? Well, okay.
Yeah, because they have like a piece of foil in the bottom of the amiibo boxes, so you gotta do a surgical incision to get it out.
Oh, wow.
Sky, what was the message I sent you again?
Tim literally sent me a message in the package with the Ruby Spears Mega Man song on it. And, he included little music notes on it, but when they were sent to me, they weren't on the letter. What were they replaced by? I think... Oh, yeah, question marks. They were replaced by question marks.
Aww.
Tim and I were joking about this later on, so it was like, who's the super fighting robot?
Mega Man?
I know, it was really awkward.
Unrelated to Mega Man Legends, but it's worth noting, I haven't been able to make a post about this yet, but the first wave of physical rewards for the Mighty No. 9 Kickstarter should be shipping soon.
Yeah.
Oh, didn't you make a post about that?
I did not.
I thought you did.
I did get an email actually about that.
Page, I don't know. I thought I could have sworn I remembered seeing it.
I had a good, 3 different things to report on a couple days ago in terms of like fan games and stuff, but none of them were Mighty Number 9. Tuttle's Legendary Travels has made some progress, and like it's got a nice, cool view of the in progress Gold City environment. There's a new 8-bit Mega Man fan game called Mega Man Super Fighting Robot.
On the topic of what we were talking about just now.
Yep. And then we also got a message from the developer of this Mega Man X inspired Kickstarter project, and well, Indiegogo actually, and was wondering if we could give it a shout out. It's called Project Miracle M. That looks kind of neat. I would be more enthusiastic about it if I didn't suck terribly at all Mega Man side-scrolling. Speaking of which, I've been playing the Mighty Number 9 demo version they've released. And yeah, I'm terrible at that too.
We're kind of getting off the track now, I think.
Oh, one last thing though. Along with the announcement that the physical rewards are heading out, they also put up like a support email to send emails to if you didn't receive your digital copy of the special demo version. Really should just be making a post about this instead of talking about it here. Excuse me.
Yeah, go do that.
I just figured we'd said more or less all we can about the PSN release.
Yeah, have we said everything? Is there anything else anyone wants to note?
I know we did this in the group, but does anyone want to share any memories or?
Oh, that'd be a good topic.
We'll go into that, but I wish, because I told Sky I played an emulated version of Mega Man 64, right? I wish I kind of did my reactions to it the first time I tried it, because it was literally like, 6 or 7 years since I last played it. So I thought that would have been interesting, but, you know, the more I got into it, the more I just totally was just absorbed into it, so I wasn't really paying attention.
Yeah.
So that's my memory.
I'd say my favorite memory from playing Mega Man Legends 1 is when, like, I would play it, like, with my brother and sister and my dad, and, like, we'd all gather around the PlayStation and stuff. Anyway, when we finished repairing the hospital and Ira could walk for the first time since the game had started, that was really cool. And I remember, like, she would say, like, come back and see me again. So I'd keep coming back to the hospital to talk to her again. And I'm like, why aren't you saying anything new? I'm visiting you again.
That hollow moment when the side quest is over. Oh, no new dialogue.
She's just there in a hospital room, able to walk, but only able to say, come back and see me again for the rest of eternity. Sad story.
It is nice how you get some additional dialogue at the end of the game, though, when you go to talk to all the citizens.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, she's there, and she gives some new dialogue depending on if you helped her or not.
I don't very often do the goodbye tour in Legends, but I really do need to do that if only for Ira.
Nice that you saved the world. Why didn't you get me to walk again? I'm stuck in this wheelchair forever now, you jerk. Yeah, you fly off of that flutter onto new adventures. I'll just sit here paralyzed.
This is taking
Moral
a
of the
dark...
story, always repair the hospital. Always repair.
Yeah, come on!
Yep. It's not that hard either. It's probably one of the easier quests. I mean, you just have to fork over some money and it's solved.
A lot easier than upgrading most of your weapons.
Yeah.
It really isn't that much, I don't think. I don't remember exactly.
So, Paul, why don't you go on to your fondest memory?
Oh, well, I remember, like, playing it back in the day on the original PlayStation. We had downstairs in the living room, and my mother, who has, like, less than zero interest in video games, especially any non-puzzle games, got a good laugh out of the first battle with Tron when she tries and fails to convince Mega Man to join her, and like she like blows the raspberry at him before the battle, like just that. And you know, I think that kind of speaks to what they were trying to do with Legends, trying to make like this anime styled game that back then no one really did, and even today it's very rare that you see that kind of presentation.
That's got a 14-year-old girl as a sky pirate.
Yeah.
That's like typical 90s anime stuff.
Yeah, and then the very first time I played it, it was a rental. I didn't know what to think of a 3D Mega Man game with a different Mega Man and all that. I was happy we got a PlayStation just so I could play X4. But then when my brother and I crack up every time with the Mara Wolf with Diesel yelling to close the hatch. It's like when I got to that point, it's like, okay, I have to have this game. That's just no question by then.
Oh, right. For me, okay, so me and my brother were the main Legends fanatics in the house. My older brother, he's about 2 years older than me. So we got into Legends when we were kids. The PlayStation was actually our first console, and Legends was one of our first games. So Legends was kind of the introduction into video games for us. But I recall constantly getting stuck near the beginning, particularly when you had to help Tron from the dog. And the way you do that in the North American version is kind of tricky, actually. It's not really addressed much by people, but it's kind of tricky because you have to talk to Tron, then you have to talk to the dog, and you have to go from one to the other.
Do you have to talk to Tron?
Yeah, you
did. I thought you could just talk to the dog right away.
No, you do have to talk to Tron first and then the dog, and it has to be in that order. And for that reason, it always confounded us as kids. It wasn't until a lot later, like days, maybe even months later, where we actually got past that part. But I know, it was kind of crazy. It was right at the beginning of the game, too, so you can imagine how depressed we were not being able to get past that part. But, yeah, the whole atmosphere of Legends it kept us enraptured, I think, at least as far as I was concerned, because it was so different from anything we'd played up to that point. It was a lot like an anime, I think, a lot like a show, one of the shows we used to watch back then on, the Saturday morning cartoons and whatnot, Japanese animation, and,
right.
The atmosphere just captivated me. I loved the characters. They were just so full of life. I loved how each one of them had their own totally unique personalities. But the gameplay, I love the gameplay too. I know some people complain about how clunky it was, but it was really good for its time, I thought.
And that's the thing. You gotta remember, obviously the first Legends, it predates the DualShock controller. Sony didn't have an analog controller back then, or at least it wasn't the standard yet. It's 3D gaming in its infancy. Considering that, I actually think it handles very well. There's no other game that I really felt that comfortable using digital controls in a 3D world.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And that's why at the time, me and my brother didn't have any problems with controls at all, because there was nothing out at that time that really controlled better. Mm-hmm. But so we had no problems with that. But I recall we also had our own names for all the Reaver bots. Really, I recall inventive names. I think we called that big Legends 2 Reaver bot, the big red one that spins around in the field in Skybane, I think it was.
Right, yeah, Skybane.
Yeah, I think we called that the Wild Chicken or something, but we had really inventive names for all of them, which I can't even remember because it was so long ago.
Probably would be better names than the ones they actually have, because
I know, we couldn't have.
They're all nonsense.
I know, even if we knew the correct names for those Reaver bots, we couldn't have pronounced those.
They're all variations with chicken in it. Well, to go a bit on what you're saying about the controls, though, remember it was on the PlayStation, and that was around the same time Resident Evil was out, so it had those tank controls to move around in a 3D environment, right?
Right.
So for its attempt at that, it actually, I think it holds up pretty well. Although I'm used to
that you turned with the shoulder.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Because, most other games of that era, you think it's kind of tricky getting the camera where you want it to be, and that is one thing to its credit that's never really a problem with that control setup. You always
double check.
You always have control over exactly where the camera is and where you're moving. It's like I say, kind of, tank style. It takes a little getting used to, but I think it works very well.
Controls to the game through PSN, right?
I don't believe so, no. On my PlayStation 3, the analog sticks did nothing.
The thing was, since I noticed that the Buster kind of auto-locks by itself without the R2 button, I never really used the R2 button that much.
Yeah, the only sense to that, I think, is on your Y-axis, if enemies are above or below you.
Right, that's right.
Otherwise, I don't really much see the point.
But see, in those instances, you can always jump and shoot them, too.
Yeah.
Right.
Gotta stick with the classics.
Yeah. And I just want to know really quickly, how were your guys' reactions when you defeated Juno? That first time that you defeated him?
jeez.
If I remember right, I was cheering my brother on because he's the one who did it.
Okay. See, I remember being armed to the teeth when I did that the first time. I remember we had the chameleon net. We spammed that.
Yeah, going through all the hold items. I did that too.
Right, we had about 20 canteens. We couldn't figure out how to get the shining laser, so I remember we had a really powered up active buster.
Yeah,
almost as good, I think. And with all that in hand, we steamrolled them basically. It took a couple tries though. I remember we had to really do a lot of Zenny farming to get enough stuff to really take down Juno, because he was a bit difficult for us with just our casual equipment.
Well, I lucked out the first time I played Legends. I kind of fell in love with the powered buster, so I didn't go around upgrading the other weapons.
Oh, really?
So once I got the active buster, I had like all this Zenny saved up, and Roll tells you in the description it's supposed to be among the most powerful weapons. So I'm like, well, okay, better invest in that one. Wrecked the Drox and the Gesellschaft with it, and just basically stuck with that till the end. And you know, I mean, some of the upgrades are expensive, but even if you don't get necessarily all of them, it is still really, really powerful. And yeah, it didn't have any issues. And that's pretty much still how I play to this day. I mean, sometimes I switch out for the shield arm for Lakion, but not all.
See, these days I like using the splash mines. I like seeing what I can do with those obscure weapons. And indeed, I've managed to take down, I think I posted on my wall about this earlier, the Lake Jiyun subgate boss. I was able to take that one down with the splash mines.
Oh yeah, that would be fun. Never tried it, but yeah, laying those down when he dives.
Yeah, you know, I found something interesting about that boss just when I tried this. You can't defeat him with any other weapon but the Buster, or some shot to the face. If you attack him when he's diving at you, it won't destroy him. You have to knock him down with a hit to the face when he's standing up. Just want to throw that out there.
Huh. Did not know.
I will get my whole stance on this out of the way, because I've actually never beaten any of the Legends games. I've spent most of my time I know. I've had a friend who I had a friend who beat it though. Well, back in like grade school. Back then, you used to go over to your friends all the time, right? To play games. But no, I spent most of my time with like Legends or Legends 2 just exploring.
Mm-hmm.
So
that darn near forever. All the characters and everything.
But it's sort of like how I feel about Animal Crossing. I just like games that sort of encourage doing those little, I guess, menial tasks, like side quests, basically. Mm-hmm. Like it encourages exploring and experimenting with all these things. That's what I love most about it. As for the Juno thing, I really can't say much. I had a friend that beat the game, but I never personally beat it. So
I'll get on that.
Shame.
I know.
I mean, that is the great thing about Legends, though. I mean, because you can explore, you can run side quests to your heart's content, and if you don't want to, you don't have to. You can always just jump to the next dungeon.
Well, with the downloading Legends on my Vita, I'll now have the chance.
Yes.
Right.
Although I really do have to say, I honestly think that the side quests are half the fun of Legends.
Yeah.
It's, people compared it to Zelda, right? And
Majora's Mask specifically, which I don't agree with, but let people have their opinions. I can respect them.
Well, in a sense, I can see that, because there's a lot of side quests in that game, right? That don't overly affect the main, plot, the main story, but they all add into it. It's that sort of thing where the main story for Legends, I think they mean more in terms of just length with all the side quests added into it. Because that's the best way to play Majora's Mask, is to do all the side quests, because they're actually really good. And that's how I feel about Legends as well.
Well, I think what they're really talking about with that is just the fact that it kind of gets you to connect with the people in the world that you're trying to save.
Yeah.
Rather than just save the world of anonymous, faceless NPCs. Mm-hmm. You do get to connect with them. But, I mean, I think it's a little different also, because in Majora, you can clearly tell on the mask screen whether or not you've done everything, and it's all kind of a means to the end, to the fierce deity, or at least that's how it was for me. Whereas with Legends, it's more, a lot of the quests have great rewards, and a lot of them are just the sheer satisfaction of, hey,
Right.
helping out these people who are in a tight spot, and then, oh yeah, I remember them when they're waving goodbye to you.
Yep, that's a very good way to describe it.
Well, also, Legends is a much more lighter game than Majora's Mask.
Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And the moon's not smiling at you.
Until you get to Juno, anyway.
Hey,
well,
on
yeah.
the topic of marginally darker moments of Legends, and I know Skybane, you were talking about the when you first meet Tron. In
Right.
the Japanese version, it is known by most fans that you had the option of actually kicking the dog rather than
Yeah, I know, and I feel that if we had that option in
Did
the
anyone-
North American version, we could have gotten past that part easily, because we
Oh.
tried kicking the dog.
Of course, why wouldn't you?
Exactly. when
Well,
you
come on, you can kick a can.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
when you
the
Zo-
shield generators in the first dungeon, you know, I mean, they do kind of teach you to use that option. The attacking dogs you can still kick. But anyway, what I was getting at, among all of us hardcore Legends fans here, one thing I never tracked down was if anyone ever like translated Tron's reaction to that, like how that might differ from the one scenario that we have.
I don't think she says anything different. I've seen videos from the Japanese version, and it seems like it just after
Seems like
you
it's
kick
the
the
same.
dog, just skips to the scene where she comes down from the pole. You know.
Yeah,
Well,
it's kinda
well, well, we'll have a blooper theory right here. Maybe her reaction, if you kick the dog, is to be more like, "Oh, my hero." You see, because she's a pirate, so she's naturally evil.
Yeah,
So
well,
evil. I know, I'm just rambling.
she's a pirate, she's not a barbarian.
Yes. She's a moral pirate.
Yeah. Not a barbarian, not a common crook either.
Mhm.
No, but yeah, the characterization, all that, it kind of goes in with the game mechanics where, like I said, you're encouraged to sort of explore, to interact with everything, and, you know, it's actually well done.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
One more highlight of the Marwolf battle, many reasons my favorite moment in the game, but I also love the aftermath
Oh.
when Diesel's like muttering to himself.
Oh my
What
god.
does he think it costs to build it? And I mean, people talk about how Legends obviously was considerably better in terms of voice acting than other Mega Man games of that time, needless to say. And the big voice acting highlight of the game to me is when the serve bots are asking Teasel if he's okay, which they do for Tron also in her battle. But when they're talking to Teasel and they sound so sad, and they're like shaking his arm like to try to snap him out of his trance.
And the
And,
music.
you know, it's like a kid talking to their wounded father. I you know, I mean, talk about sympathy to the villains. I just love that.
I know. What about the face Teasel makes? That is. He's purely crushed. You can tell that just from looking at him. I know. That's definitely one of my favorite moments too. In fact, you know, when we first started the Throwback Thursday post on Get Me Off the Moon, that was probably one of the first moments I intended to cover.
Yeah. Master Teasel, are you all right?
Well,
Teasel?
isn't there like actually a moral thing in the game where if you like do a lot of bad things, Mega Man's color scheme turns darker, like closer to black?
I don't know what bad things you can do in the first game other than keeping the money from the alleged bank robbery.
You can kick the vending machine.
Yeah, that's that.
Yeah,
but
kicking the can, then kicking the
you
vending
gotta do
machine
that,
also makes
like,
it black.
how many times?
I don't know how many
Like in the
times.
Japanese version, you know, I know you can like shoot and kick animals, and
Well, I recall
assume
Rob
it's
Man.
dark,
We had Rob Man on our Mega Man Legends Marathon stream, and he was saying that if you kick all the vending machines on Cadillac's Island, then
Oh
you're-
yeah, right.
Yeah, then it turns
right,
dark.
because the exploding vending machine.
right.
Oh, I keep forgetting about that one.
I didn't even know you can get a drink out of that thing because it always exploded on me when I tried to do that.
This game teaches us so much.
It really does, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. I guess it's kind of hard to explain because nowadays games, you know, you can do a lot of more, but back then, you know, adding those subtle touches into details to characters and all that, that was sort of not commonplace.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's another point for that Legends gets.
Okay, alright, and I think that's about it for now. Remember, folks, if you want to support the Legends series, buying Mega Man Legends 1 on PSN is probably the most effective way to do so right now. The game's available on PS3, PS Vita, and also, I believe, Vita TV for $9.99, so pick it up if you have those consoles. And if you don't have those consoles, but still want to support the Legends series, well, there's nothing stopping you from buying Mega Man Legends 1 directly from the PlayStation Network site. Anyway, I think that about wraps up this podcast. Guys, thanks for coming on again, and until next time, everyone, keep fighting the good fight, and remember,
Legends never die!
See you next time, folks. Thanks for watching.
Alrighty.
Alright, see ya. We'll post another picture of Legends 2 this time on the Sky's PS3.
Yeah.
And we'll say,
Oh my God.
there it is. There it is.
I have to ask, does anyone remember that?
I do. Oh, how I do.
I was quite proud of that, even if it was kind of did tick a few people off, I have to say.
I remember it most from when you said you can't do it anymore. So.
I remember
Sorry.
I posted a video on the page way back around when it started. I'm like, look guys, I found some video footage of Legends 3, and it was just a rickroll of Proto Man dancing. So a lot of people were like, I hate you, but that was funny.
This isn't going in the podcast, by the way, is it, Tim?
Bloopers.